So, welcome. Dzień dobry, everyone. Before we go into English, let me say a few words in Polish. Dzień dobry wszystkim. Krótkie ogłoszenie. Dzisiejszy panel będzie w języku angielskim, ponieważ mamy panelistów z innych krajów w Europie. Ale zanim to nastąpi, przejdę całkowicie na angielski. Chciałam wszystkich Państwa serdecznie powitać na dzisiejszym panelu poświęconym Women in Games i zaprosić Państwa do śledzenia naszego dzisiejszego wydarzenia również w tłumaczeniu angielskim w czacie. Okay, so now I will switch fully into English and I will say one more time, welcome everyone. I have a privilege and pleasure today to be your host and talk about women perspective of navigating the video music game industry with my lovely panelists today on a call. So before we go to the topic itself, let me introduce my noble colleagues that I will be talking to today. First one is Agnieszka Rumińska. Agnieszka is a composer and sound designer at Superkami. And she has collaborated on major titles like Divinity, Original Sin 2, and Observer. She's also a speaker and educator committed to promoting gaming music. She's also part of our community of women in games as an individual ambassador. Kat Wilkinson, senior production manager at Laced, Keyword Studios company. Kat has more than 20 years of experience in game music production. She leads a team of specialists offering comprehensive audio solutions for projects worldwide. My name is Kasia Moczarska. I am Regional Internal Communications Manager for Keyword Studios for Europe, and I have a pleasure to be your host during today's panel. And the topic that we are going to talk today about is women perspective of navigating the video music game industry. So with that, before we go to the conversation itself, I have a few slides for you. So now please give me a sec as I'm sharing my screen. All right. Yeah, almost there. And please, if you could just let me know, Agnieszka, Kat, if you can see my slide.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so I would like to spend the first 5 minutes to quickly tell our audience about who we are, who is Women in Games organization and Keyword Studios, and why our mission and also this panel today is all about. So let's start with who or what Women in Games organization is. So it has been founded in 2009. Women in Games is a global non-for-profit organization. And the mission of this organization is to create new platforms, pathways, and synergies which foster opportunities that empower girls and women in the globe of gaming industry. And and how we do that. Women in Games will bring together agents of change, allies, men and boys, champions, experts, grassroots organization, and others to develop shared solutions toward fairness and equality for all. And by investing in women and girls to be instrumental in influencing positive change in and beyond video game sector. And you can see on the slide that next year will be dedicated to theme Year of a Girl, and Women in Games will be partnering with organizations like Keyword Studios and other video games companies and allies to support young girls and promote opportunities, future career opportunities in the video music game industry and in the game industry as a whole. And we'll make sure that the mission of the next year will be to make sure that everyone has access to education and also can proceed with careers in the gaming industry if they want. All right, and now a little bit about the ambassador program itself. So at the heart of Keyword Studios and Women in Games partnership is the shared aim of shaping the game industry, tackling gender inequality and addressing underrepresentation. And we are in our 3rd year of partnership with Women in Games as a sponsor of individual ambassador program, which supports and empowers talented women in the gaming industry. So the program is designed to connect and empower people to activate change in the video games industry and ties closely with Keyword's mission to build a more diverse, inclusive and welcoming environment for all. Individual ambassadors make up a worldwide network, as you can see on the slide, and empower people to activate change. We are now more than 2,600 ambassadors, which is amazing. And you can see how quickly we've been growing since 2021, when the program was started, and now, you know, it's getting more and more. So we are super happy from that. And we are spread across 79 countries in all the regions worldwide. So this is definitely something to be proud of. These ambassadors are role models and activists for gender equality for games. They are involved in women in games projects and activities, and also in their local communities, they support each other. And they are also part of community of action, like this panel today, making meaningful impacts. Okay, and now just to give you a little bit of flavor of what it really means, you know, how it really, how we can visualize what women in games and ambassadors are doing. So here, to give you an example, we have few kinds of gatherings or just initiatives that ambassadors get up to. And just this year, we did few, as an organization and as a network, events like after work meetup in Berlin, in Germany, ambassador mixture at Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, US, connection even at Gamescom, LATAM in Brazil. We created a panel or did a panel at EU Talent Fair Euroscience Open Forum Conference in Katowice, Poland. Women in Games Asia chapter has their own mentorship program. They are also partnering with Xbox, or they did partner with Xbox during the last Gamescom Asia in Singapore. And recently also, Women in Games organized a networking event in Seattle, US. So as you can see, it's all about strengthening our community, building our collaborative power, and supporting one another to make a change in the industry. And here, this is the last slide from my presentation. If you would be interested to learn more about how we partner with Women in Games, Keyword Studios is partnering with Women in Games, what the organization is involved, and also what our company is doing more to share the voice in the industry, I strongly encourage you to visit our websites. QR codes are here. But also there is a lot of great content and examples and information on both social media of Women in Games and Keywords. So I encourage you and recommend you have a look. All right, so with that, I will stop sharing my screen now. Okay, I hope it's okay. And now we will go to the best part of this panel, to discussion with Kat and Agnieszka, and learn more about, from their perspective, women perspective, you know, what it means to work on music, but in the video game industry. Okay, so with that, I would like to ask to you ladies, first question. Could you share your career stories with us? I mean, could you tell us what your professional journey has been so far? And maybe Agnieszka, let's start with you first.
Hello, everybody. I have been working in the game dev industry for about 9 years now, but my background is classical music. And how did it happen? I started my journey as a 6-year-old child in the music school, and I went through every step of the national education system in Poland. And eventually I graduated from composition and music theory and also opera vocal studies at the Music Academy in Katowice. After that, I worked as a choir artist in Krakow Filharmonii. And after years of singing in various vocal ensembles, I decided to look for some other opportunities. But the problem was I was 29 back then. So I turned myself into study once again, but this time I took a rather technical approach, and I choose sound in games and also sound engineering. And thanks to that, I was able to enter game dev industry by taking the role of composer and sound designer in Anshar Studios, the company based in Katowice. And now I'm working in Superkami, and my daily responsibilities are, for example, creating and implementing sound effects and music, of course, supporting outsourced composer with technical matters, and last but not least, cooperating with design, code, and animation and other departments to make sure we deliver the high quality audio into our game. And if you're interested in that, you can check our last game, which is Sengoku Dynasty. It's a survival simulator game based in feudal Japan. And you can find this game by using my LinkedIn account, for example. And I think that's the most important.
Yes, that's interesting. Thanks, Agnieszka. Kat, what about you? How it has been for you?
I think with my journey, I got into music and games more sort of an organic way, but I'm very, very happy to be here. When I left school, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I went to university and I did a marketing degree. I thought that was a bit of a catch-all. You learn promotion, you learn statistics, you learn production. And so it was a bit of a catch-all. And I kind of kicked the can down the road to get a career later on. I started off working at Sony Pictures as a sales analyst for their DVD department, if you cast your mind back when movies were on DVDs. And then I moved to the UK from Australia and ended up getting an interview for a job, which I didn't know at the time was for Take-Two International, which is the brand holders for Rockstar and for 2K. So that was my introduction to the games industry, but it was purely because I was in physical product for entertainment. Mm-hmm. I worked there for a few years and then went to a couple of major music labels, landing at Key Production, where one of the clients was Laced, and Laced was one of my clients. And luckily for me, I now work at Laced, which is a company that you may not have heard of, but you definitely would have heard of the things that we work on. Laced deals with video game soundtracks and merchandise. The soundtracks are mostly on LPs. And so my background in physical production helped there, and I manage the merchandising side at Laced now too.
Oh, wow, thank you. That's super interesting. And yes, I mean, definitely, this is something what also I encourage everyone to, to learn more and visit the Laced website. I think that, they can find there more. All right, Agnieszka, I have one more question, and Kat, related to your journey or your career's journey. Agnieszka, you have been, you started as a, let's say, classic musician, right? You have a full education. So in this, like classic way. So can you share with us, was it the smooth path for you to transition from classical music background into video music games industry? Was there any type of challenges? Also, let's say, what would you say to yourself, if you were to come back and, when you were at the beginning of this decision making about the new career opportunities?
Yes, I'm smiling because I remember this wasn't an easy process. The transferring was truly challenging because these worlds are very different, to be honest, especially for the person who spent all their life on singing, practicing, playing piano, etc. And now you have to switch into the technology stuff. So yes, it wasn't easy, especially at the start, but it pays off, and I'm happy that I did that. But if I were entering this industry just right now, I would definitely give myself this 3 pieces of advice. And the first one, it would be get to know and play as many games as possible, because understanding this medium is crucial, and without it, composing and designing music for games is extremely hard. It is like writing a book without knowing the language. the music in the video game must fit into the very complex system of gameplay mechanics which are developed by designers and programmers. And without knowing the certain techniques or convention, writing the music is very hard. So you can learn those techniques and conventions simply by playing, analyzing, and understanding the video games. The second advice would be combine creative and technical thinking, because composers' work is not only about sheets and orchestration, it's also about the powerful technology, and that was difficult for me at the beginning. So the most important for me back then was to learn how to think in more systemic way, but also knowing the basic stuff for composer, like the basic software. And it would be a digital audio workstation, which is basic software for the composer, and is like Cubase or Logic or Reaper. These are the best known. The second thing would be prepare your mockups by using MIDI programming, using virtual instruments in digital audio workstation. Of course, using microphones and synthesizers, working in them to create music. And the next thing, especially important for the aspiring composer, is to learn the basics of implementation your music in middleware software, for example, Audiokinetic Wise. And it's very good to know some basics, some understanding of game engine to be able to cooperate with other specialists like programmers, for example. And the last advice would be develop interdisciplinary skills. So this is related with the last one I told a minute ago. Music in the video game is not a standalone feature. It must go along with other work. It depends on many aspects of video game production, and understanding animation, design, and code departments work gives you a huge advantage and makes you an attractive candidate from the recruiter's perspective. So it's worth to remember. And as some quick final words here, if you are interested in entering this industry, I have two news for you, and one news is a good one, but the second is bad one. Let's start with the bad. The bad is that actually in this moment, the video game industry is under a big crisis, and some really experienced specialists are without a job because they were fired due to this crisis and this very hard situation. But the good thing is that this crisis is temporary. It's not gonna last forever. So you can use this time as your advantage and pay some attention to develop the skill set, to develop your skills, and it gives you a chance to become greater specialists. Because it's worth to remember that in this industry, which is based on competences, there is always a place for talented people. And
thanks, Agnieszka. Yeah, no, thank you. These are great insights. And Kat, exactly to follow up on what Agnieszka said, but I would like to ask you about the same, but from different angle, let's say. So because your career was not as you described before, also not from the very beginning related to video games and music in the video games and so on. So what would be your advice, or what you would recommend to people who are on the panel, or, you know, will be listening later? What opportunities are out there for potential candidates or people who are considering their careers in this industry, and how to match these passions, right? Because one is musician, but on the other hand, as even Agnieszka said, you know, if you are a gamer, it helps a little bit. But I am thinking I am not a gamer, but still, I have a lot of, interest and passion for this industry. So probably there are ways, you can find your own space when you think about career in this industry. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was I, by my own admission, am not a gamer either. My great love of Grand Theft Auto is driving around listening to the radio. So that's my sort of gaming introduction. But I definitely want to build on what Agnieszka said. It's just keep up your skill set, look for different things. And one thing with the pandemic, with what I do, it was a boom for the time for what I do, because people were staying home, they were buying music products because they had the time to listen to them, and they also musicians had time to make music. So then forward on, even now, people are saying, I made this during COVID, and they want to get it out in a physical way. So definitely keep up your skill set, because you don't know what's going to happen. And as well, not everything game-wise is going to be digital. Not everything game-wise is going to be, you have to be a programmer. For example, we make physical product for video game music. We still make cassettes, which I'm sure a lot of people on this panel...
We do.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure people on this panel have no idea what a cassette is. It very much is a outdated form of a music delivery system, but it's a cool thing to have. So with music in video games, it isn't necessarily about playing it, it's about having something nice. So once again, you could be a designer. A lot of the lay stuff is very heavily focused in the design and the look of it and whatnot. So if you're a designer and you want to become part of the games industry, that's something there. If you're good with sound engineering, whatnot, become a mastering engineer. So it very much isn't, you have to be a programmer, you have to understand all of that to be part of this industry. It's simply not true.
Oh, thank you. It's so inspirational. Thank you. Definitely, I hope that, it will help our audience who are listening to make a decision if they are still wondering if this is the right way. Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit, and, because it's about music a lot, so let's focus on, let's dive into perspectives of role of a music in a video game itself, right? So in your view, how does music shapes the player's experience? And Kat, I would like to start with you, if that's okay. You worked on soundtrack for Halo and contributed to the music for Cult of the Lamb. So can you share more with us, more details about it, and what experience, how it's linked with the overall impression?
Yeah, I think the Cult of the Lamb, we recently released a title called The Themes of the Unholy, which is about the Cult of the Lamb game, which is one of the soundtracks that we do. The basic premise of Cult of the Lamb is that you're a lamb and you build a cult. That's it. But for the release of Themes of the Unholy, we had some massive metal bands that have collaborated to make songs, specifically original songs about Cult of the Lamb. And I have worked on some major releases, like I've worked on Rihanna albums, I've worked on Rolling Stones albums, and it pretty much is get it made, get it out, #1, great. When we did Cult of the Lamb, we watched the launch of the initial single on YouTube, and it was amazing. It was just the fans just loved it. So it started up and everyone's like, this is amazing, like, I can't believe this, and people were crying about it and whatnot. And it's just people's level of engagement and love for this game, and the music behind the game was just so inspirational. But as well, we had interviews with the people that did the songs. So it was guys from Killswitch Engage, While She Sleeps, like massive bands, and they were saying how much they enjoyed gaming. And it was just a really cool thing to see that these people that you admire for what they do kind of digging what you do too.
Amazing. What about Halo? I mean, was it another thing that, I mean, this is very popular video game, right?
Yeah. With Halo, that was a little bit different because it was just the music from the game, but this was the first time that it had been available in this format. So to give you a long story short, my company had been working on doing this deal for over 7 years. So it had come together, and it was a long project, but it was absolutely worth it, because the day that it was released, once again, people just lost their minds, because it's just something that they couldn't have otherwise. And yeah, but like I said, Lace you may not have heard of, but you absolutely would have heard of what we do. And Halo was amazing, and it's going to look amazing when it comes out.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much. Agnieszka, now, to look from different perspective on what we've, on this music team and experience for gamers. I mean, let's from this functional side, because tell me, I want to ask you about design of sounds, or those smaller bits of music in the video game. So what is your experience, or what you would like to share with us from the perspective of this really technical or functional element of music in the video game itself, right? You are a sound, you are a composer and sound designer, so you will have to be focused on those little details that make a difference, right?
Yes, because the soundtrack is this final product that we can cherish after playing the game, just to remember those beautiful moments from the game. And this is like the cherry pick of everything. So this is generating so much hype and so many emotions. But alongside in the soundtrack, there is the game experience itself, the player's experience. And maybe I will focus on that because this is my field of expertise, basically, of course. So about the function and music and sound effects in video games, what is it? The easiest answer would be that music and sound effects should establish the mood. But it's just a side effect, to be honest. The primary function of music and sound design is to inform the player about what just have happened or what is about to happen in a minute, what is going to happen in a minute. So, for example, let's take some examples of real games. I'm in a dungeon. Or I'm in a cave and the music is gloomy, it is eerie, so it tells me that probably I'm not safe, probably some danger can attack me, probably there is a danger somewhere here, so I need to be cautious. So this is an information for the player, not just establishing the mood, but also the information that I am not safe. And the other example, music can tell me where the enemy is. Is he close or far? And let's take the example from our game, Sengoku Dynasty, directly. So we did it like this. When we see the enemy, but the enemy can't see us, the tension music is playing. So this is slow music, but it's definitely not calm. This is like a suspense. Something is off. We can feel it, and it gives us a hint that we can stay and observe because the enemy can't see us. We can go back if you are too weak, or we can enter the fight. So we have three options here, and the music is telling us that. But if the enemy see us, the music immediately changed in more dynamic one in the close combat cue. So this means that the combat is going to happen just right now, and we must prepare as quickly as possible. So that was this example about informative function of the music. And the second function of music, and also sound design, of course, is directing the player's emotions. And for RPG role-playing games, it's probably obvious for everybody, because in narrative-driven games in general, the music evokes certain feelings because it should go alongside the text layer. But I would like to focus on some other examples, and let's approach it from a different perspective. For example, let's take some exploration game, open world type. And for example, the players find the temple or some sacred place, shrine, or something like this. This unlocks some perks, or the player can gain some special powers for some short time. In this moment, sound effects is playing, specially made for that occasion. And this sound effects is very rewarding. And the effect is that the dopamine is bumped in that moment. So we as developers are rewarding the player for exploring the map. This is the crucial thing, because this game, exploration game, was made to encourage the players to explore this game. So this way we can encourage the player to do that. And this player can be encouraged to look for some other shrines and some other temples, secret places, so she or he keeps playing the game in search of dopamine boosts. And one final example here is that about also from sound effects field. For example, the player is trying to attack his friend in co-op session or something like that, and then the failure sound effects is playing. So this way we develop unpleasant feelings to prevent players from harming their allies. So that was another example. We can stop here because I can say many other examples, but you can see that the music depends on many aspects of the game and has very practical, almost pragmatical purpose. And it's very important to music and sound effects go alongside these design mechanics that are present in the game.
Oh, wow.
Just from someone from another perspective, it's just so interesting to hear about music being used as like a character, which I love. It's just so impressive what you do.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Exactly. And and I mean, probably I am the more or I am the further away from you, Kat, Ami, and you, Agnieszka, when it comes to music and and really what from the production side or composing side it means. But when you're describing it like this, visualizing for us, I mean, it's amazing, because exactly we can see how important and extremely crucial role music element plays from the player's experience, right? And Kat, this is what you said about people who are waiting for the music team to be live. I mean, then they can listen just to the music team itself, right? Or exactly that the bands are also involved in creating teams. I mean, this is fantastic. And from Agnieszka's standpoint, thinking about all those little elements that will make a difference from the music perspective, at every single moment of the gaming experience. I mean, this is super interesting. So thank you for sharing that. Hey, we are almost on time. We still have some time before our panel is finished. So let me check if there are any questions from our audience. And actually, yes, there is one, and I will translate. And Agnieszka, Kat, feel free to jump in. Do you think that, let me just read it in Polish first. Have you seen recently increase of female talents or women talents in the gaming industry? So do you see that we go in the right direction, that this industry is getting bigger and have better space also for women talents, and let's say breaking the glass ceilings? How it resonates with you? Yeah, Kat, let's start with you.
I think definitely. I think absolutely. My company, it's a small company, but for the full-time employees, women make up just under half of the full-time employees. So yeah, I can see, even with music, even with anything, it's just women have a place at the table, and I think we fought for it, so we should sit. So.
All right, and Agnieszka?
Yes, definitely. The change is huge. I remember when I was starting my job, I was one of the very few women in this industry. To be honest, I'm not sure, but probably this 9 or 10 years ago, 9 years ago, I was the only female composer in Poland, I guess, in the industry. There was some girls focused on sound design, I guess, but about sensu stricto video games industry, I was, of course, junior composer, aspiring one, but I'm not aware of other women composer at that time, and it escalated quickly. To be honest, we have a lot of wonderful girls in Poland now who are creating music for video games. Agnieszka Rumińskiej, who recently made with Sebastian Syczyński beautiful soundtrack for the Taumaturge by Fool's Theory, or Zofia Domaracka, who is very active in this field as well. And I can go next with other names, but it's not about that. It's about showing that this industry is very welcoming and very inclusive, and the girls in many other specialists, not only music, sound effects, but graphic, visual arts, or programming. This industry is very welcoming for women. So if you are hesitating because this is so man job, no, it's not a job for men. The women are great in that industry as well.
Yeah, thank you. And just to echo both of you, I'm here in Keyword Studios 2 years, and I have learned so much about video game industry since then. But exactly, yes, I mean, this is also what I've been impressed by, that there is so many women talents in the industry itself. And when you think, from the testing perspective or project managing big video productions, or, on the client side and, on the production side, there is a lot of female talents. And definitely there is a space, if you think about career in this direction, and you have the skills and you have the passion, definitely this is the direction to go to, because this is still a big industry that will be growing, and definitely there will be a lot of opportunities. There is already a lot of opportunities. And to link with our team that we have today, Women in Games, and just our perspective, also through the Women in Games organization, I am myself an ambassador. This is amazing how many fantastic female talents is out there, and from the senior leadership positions to middle management, or also very operational positions. There is enormous network out there of women who are supporting each other, sharing experience, supporting those who are just entering this industry and this career paths. So definitely also for anyone who's interested or just starting career, if you are a man or if you are a woman, if you are just any person, basically, if you want to join the Women in Games organization and support those initiatives to promote these possibilities for everyone, definitely this is your place to be as well. All right, I cannot see any more questions or comments coming in, and I think we are all on time right now. So yes, before we go, Kat, Agnieszka, do you have final thought, anything you want to share with our audience?
I would say one last thing. What is the most beautiful things for me about this industry, that it is based on competences. And thanks to that, if you are interested in entering that industry, you must remember that the endurance and the hard work are the key to success here. So that is my final reflection, that the competences are the gold here. So it's all about you, not the magical.
Yeah. No, I think with mine, it's something we talked about on the lead up to this panel. There's jobs that exist today that didn't exist 5 years ago, and there'll be jobs in 5 years that don't exist today. So work to your strengths. Every opportunity you've got, go for it. And the best way to shut someone up saying that you can't do something is to prove them wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. So hey, with that, I would like to thank everyone. And also just to mention, there was supposed to be with us one more panelist, Athena-Marii Enderstein, but Athena had last minute emergency and she couldn't be with us today. So Athena, we are sending you a lot of positive energy. Take care. But thank you, because she was preparing with us and, you know, it was super helpful as well. So I hope that the next time we can host Athena too. So everyone, thank you again. Kat, Agnieszka, it was a pleasure to partner with you on this panel today. And have a great Sunday, fantastic afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye bye.